Bigyan.
Then 8 plus 5.
Muna ni siya. Hello la. Hello mga palangga. Nakakaon na ba o paliwan ko ang tanan? So welcome back to my YT channel. So sa akong tupad, si Zeke Gray. Ano dito? Sa akong kirid mo siya si Vanderbilt Bacalzo. Okay. Okay, mo niya nga to. We will discuss first Sucrose. Sucrose. Sucrose meaning to say that is saccharide sugar. Okay, you know. So sugar belong to the saccharide family. Saccharides family guys. Sige, pag-study ang chemistry ha. Para future mathematician and future chemist. Like that. Okay. Ikaw telo sa mga future. Okay. So, mo na siya nga itong formula. Okay. 12 atoms of carbon, 22 atoms of hydrogen, 11 atoms of oxygen. Okay. So, ito na siyang plasan of oxygen. Yes. Right? So, plus oxygen. Ganon. So plus oxygen, guys, what is our product? What are our products here? Sucrose plus oxygen. Guys. What I put, why I put oxygen? Because we breathe oxygen every second, every minute, every hour when we walk, when we go to the school, when we go to the market. So we always inhale oxygen. Then if you put also sugar in your coffee, and then you eat also panburikat, and then you eat also let's say, a lot of carbohydrates, high refined carbohydrates food, it will be converted to sugar, then it's gonna be the reaction, chemical reaction, right? So anything sweet have sucrose already, especially the processed foods, the liquid or the solid processed foods, for example, the packed juices, packed juices, and then we have the soft drinks, soda drinks like that, milk tea, things like that, cake, halo. So all of them fortified red sugar or sucrose, the white sugar. Okay, so this is why this, and then we inhale also oxygen. This will become similar to say every second we have this chemical reaction inside our system when we walk, and we will just not noticing it. Okay, because we are not majoring in science, we are not scientists like that. But to those who are professionals, then they understand very well about this, right? So most of them are, for example, BS chemistry, BS chemical engineering, BS biology, BS pharmacy, BS medical technology, things like that involves a lot of chemistry in the topics and subjects, BS forensic science, BS metallurgical science, BS nuclear energy, BS nuclear engineering, BS petroleum engineering, things like all about sciences profession. Get the point? I don't know really exactly about nursing. I think we talk also about chemistry, but I'm not really that sure. Okay, you get the point. I think they are talking with the basic chemistry. Okay. You get the point. But I mentioned courses that have so many chemistry. Okay? Especially also the doctor of medicine have so many chemistry because all substances is studied. And all substances, made up of matter. And matter is the study of chemistry. Okay? Without substances, they cannot prescribe medicines. How can they say that, oh, you are lack of this, you are more of this, don't eat too much like this if they don't know in the first place the substances, right? So of course they know the characteristics of sugar, like that, blah blah blah, so on. So we take the system. Okay, you got the point. So I'm telling you that they have so much chemistry. Also, clinical chemistry. Okay, they are more on the clinical chemistry and biochemistry. Okay, like that. So mo na siya guys, no? Ang atong reaction, chemical reaction. Yung ma-produce na yung taog, carbon dioxide. Laoy? Yes. Ganon. Carbon dioxide, right? Yes. Carbon dioxide lah plus water. Mga tanong mo na kung ano yung in fairness, sure ko niyan. Char! So, ang product van der Waals kay carbon dioxide and water. So carbon dioxide is the same as greenhouse gas because the more we have carbon dioxide in the planet Earth, this is the cause of climate change, the global warming. Because the presence of carbon dioxide in excess releases by the different industrial power plants, let's say the vehicles, whatever, okay, it will really cause the thinning, THINNING of the ozone layer of the sun. So it will become very hot. Okay? Because it will deplete the ozone layer of the sun. Okay? So through that, the result will be, or the impact will be the global warming and the climate change. Sometimes we cannot understand the weather. Oh, why like this? Okay, we cannot, because of that. Okay? You get the point, the greenhouse gases. Ganon, and that is mainly carbon dioxide here. Okay? So, even though in our biochemical reaction inside our body, we will still produce carbon dioxide. It's not only the industrial power plants that will produce also carbon dioxide. But of course, it's limited. Not so many. Okay? What I try to emphasize, all human beings produces carbon dioxide, all living organisms, and also the plants. Just like a cycle. We inhale oxygen and we release carbon dioxide. The same also with animals. Okay. And as we all know that human beings are the highest form of animal. Okay. Things like that. Okay, phylum. I forget the phylum. Phylum Mammalia. Which is that phylum Amphibia, phylum Reptilia, mga ganon-ganon. Phylum Species, like that. I remember this in my biology in my high school because I memorized a lot. I memorized a lot in my second year high school in Naga National High School. Okay, things like that. Biology, right? Ito mga phylum, mga kingdom, ganon-ganon. Okay, di ba? Sa biology, ito mga commensalism, predator, mga ganon-ganon, di ba? Yung mga, sa example ba, mga parasites, charot. Okay, so marilit na po ni mo ani. Diba? Okay. So, Van der Waals, makapusid na tayo dili pa sa itong products. Okay. Akong diet Pepsi, uy, asa na? Okay. So CO2 and water. So the first step mga palangga akong itan is to balance the chemical reaction before anything else. Okay? Because if this is not balanced, then we cannot follow the law of conservation of matter. Okay? Established by the father of modern chemistry, Mr. Antoine Lavoisier. Okay? He's the father of modern chemistry. Then how can we say that if this is balanced, then you have to balance this individually by element to element. Okay, Van der Waals, what are the elements found here? Uy! Di maminaw do, science ba yan nila? Okay. So, ang natalino kay pagtanga ra gud didong. Wa jud kay mga visual aid do. Okay, next. Okay, Manila paper. Chares! Okay. Carbon. Na? Carbon. Element number 1, carbon. Element number 2, hydrogen. Element number 3, oxygen. Now, we need to understand one by one what this carbon all about, hydrogen all about, oxygen all about, so that you can easily say what's their behavior when they go into a chemical reaction, because this is also one thing of understanding what are the products. Because if you don't know the behavior, the characteristics, the properties of each element, then we are not really sure what products will be produced in our inputs, in our raw materials. Raw materials are inputs to produce products. Products are also what we call the result, the yield, like that, okay? So there's a lot of synonyms, okay, for this terminologies, okay? So things like that, okay? Now, carbon. Venerable carbon, it is a metal or non-metal?
Non-metal?
Wow, perfect. So, carbon, very good. Carbon is non-metal. Okay. So, what is the first identification of carbon? Give me an example. In what situation? Tubag. What is the situation, an example where we can see that there is carbon atom? GK, what is the example or situation that we see or we experience that there is really a carbon atom exists? Or exists. Okay, tubag. Lawin. Okay, our evidence, our factual evidence that there is a carbon. So the first thing to identify is through burning. Okay, burning. For example, if you burn a wood, and then there is a black particles. Okay, the ashes. Okay, things like that, and it turns black. So that the carbon will be there. That's in terms of wood. So number two, if we burn also paper, there's a black particles. Okay, so and if you burn also sugar, it will produce also black particles. So the commonalities are producing black particles when you burn the material. So usually the materials we refer here is the combustible materials, meaning materials that can be easily be burned, like that, or a material that combust easily. Combust, right? Is the root word for combustible. Right? So things like that. So, muna siya tamilhanan mo. Itom na ganun na siya after burning, then that is, the presence of carbon will be there. Okay, just like a fire. After the fire, if the fire is happening today, and tomorrow you will see a lot of black ashes, particles or whatever, things like that. All that is made mostly of carbon atoms. All materials around us made of carbon atoms. Also human being, if you burn also human being, it will produce black particles also, the bone. Okay, our bone will turn also black. Things like that. So, of course, it's not totally black, but there's a presence of black, that is the presence of carbon, because we eat also carbohydrates, it contains carbon. You get the point? So it will still be in there, in the bone, in the muscles, in the tissues. Then, of course, when the person will be burned, if there's an accident, fire accident, of course, there's a carbon on that guy that is burned, or the woman that is burned. Common sense, right? And unless we will never eat food in a day, because we cannot intake carbon atoms inside our body. Rice already contains carbon, right? 6 atoms of carbon. If the moment we eat the rice in the morning, or you add 6 atoms of carbon. The moment you eat rice in after you eat, you add also 6 atoms of carbon. The moment you eat also rice in the evening, you add also 6 atoms of carbon. How many atoms of carbon you added into your system? 6 times 3, 18 atoms of carbon. Okay. And that is only in terms of atoms. I'm not referring to the amount. The amount is another computation that is based on the stoichiometric relationship here. Then, in which you will consider the volume, the mass, things like that, the number of moles. That's still the atoms we take into our system. So that's why when we burn, there's a black particle in our bone, in our muscles, in our tissues after we die, like that. For example, if we are dying now, somebody died and you put that in the cemetery, after 1 week, you go there, right? The earthworm will eat the muscles, the unod, unod. There's also black particles there, okay? And then it will be mixed with the soil and with the rainwater, like that. Then it will be flushed away. That's why ang bone mahabilin. Charot. Okay, you get the point. Ganon. So, carbon, mana siya carbon? Carbon is non-metal, ha? Oh. Dito na siya mabilong sa 4, group 4. Carbon. Group 4A, yun siya ang carbon, no? Okay. Group 4A. Ganon. So, kato si carbon, silicon, germanium, mga yung mga kauban nito, guys. Okay? Selenium, lead, mga ganon-ganon yung mga kauban dito, ha? Sa group 4. So, kuha na lang yun yung ang group 4. Kami naman kaayo. Okay, siya sa nung kami, nakabuok, good. Carbon, carbon, silicon, germanium, selenium. Wala na kabaya. Okay, di ba? Naman ka. Enumerate the 4 elements in group 4A. Perfect na yun. Get the point. Ana. Okay, ang hydrogen, isa man siya. Group 1. Right? Group 1 na siya. So, group 1A. Katuwa na siya mga alkali metals. Yes. Alkaline hydrogen. And oxygen, group 6A. Okay? Ganon. Okay, katong kauban sa mga sulfur. O, diba? Ang 6A. Okay? Carbon, group 4A, hydrogen, group 1A, and oxygen, group 6A. Hydrogen is the lightest element in the atmosphere. Lightest siya. Okay, lightest. Mugawas na ba rin sa mga kuwan guys, examination guys. Lightest element. Yung gaan kayo siya. What makes it gaan? Because of the atomic weight, which is 1.008 grams per atom. Okay? Light. Lightest element in the atmosphere, in the universe. It will reach to the outer space because this is very, very light. Okay, get the point. Okay. This is to fuel the spaceships like that, aeronautical studies like that in the outer space because this hydrogen is very light. It's a light gas. It reached to the, to the Milky Way, galaxy, ganun. Nakaloka. O, diba? Mga heavenly bodies, char. Okay. Okay. Then, hydrogen is discovered by Mr. Henry Cavendish. Okay. Henry Cavendish. Hydrogen. Hydrogen discovered by Henry Cavendish. Yes, Henry Cavendish. Okay. And then oxygen is the most reactive element in the planet Earth. Okay? So meaning to say, if it is really reactive, meaning it's also abundant. Okay? The most abundant element in the planet Earth. And then sometimes also the question will be revised as the most abundant element in the Earth's crust. CRUS, yung kayutaan ba? Actually, more magulbot pa sa butana. Planet Earth. Okay? Get the point? Get the point. So, the scientist who discovered oxygen is Jules Priestley. Okay, Jules Priestley. Okay. Mula sa oxygen, no? Reactive kasi oxygen. Ganon. Ano yung mga oxidation. To the point that our body will produce free radicals. Because there's an excess oxygen that is not banded to other stable oxygen gas inside our body. If there's a free radicals, then of course the bacteria will come. Okay? Because that is their outlet to stay. The free radicals. Then we need to remove the free radicals to have more vitamin C. Because the more we have vitamin C, then these free radicals will be removed, then the bacteria and viruses will not stay in our system. So we don't have diseases. So how can we achieve imbalanced oxygen atoms? Is it our body? This is the result of poor eating habits. Poor eating habits. Meaning to say, you eat not in timely manner. You always eat in between breakfast and lunch, in between lunch and dinner, which signals abnormality. things like that. Because you don't have to snack too much in between breakfast and lunch, lunch and dinner. You only have to snack one time in 9 o'clock, things like that, or say one time in 3 o'clock, like that. Get the point? Or you don't have to also, because you know the complete digestion process of the food takes 6 hours to 8 hours a day. Get the point? The complete digestion in our digestive system, so that the food will be digested very well. So meaning to say that if your stomach is is what you call this one, kanang mutingog bitaw siya mudaguok. So it doesn't mean nabuko mo siya. It's just only saying that you are having a normal digestion process. Then you have to drink hot water. Too much naman. Hot water. Okay? Or warm water, because it's a signal of healthy body. Okay? That is not gutom, ha? You only misinterpreted na gutom na siya, but actually that is not gutom. Especially when you eat adequate or enough breakfast. And you are wondering why you are hungry at 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock. No, it doesn't. That is, that is amazing. Amazing. That is surprising, right? When you feel hungry, then you busog ka in the breakfast. So it could have been a healthy functioning of your digestive system. The digestion process is taking place. So that is not gutom. That is misinterpretation. Get the point? So just drink hot water like that. Or you can stretch your body like that. Your feet, your hands like that. Okay, so because this vital organs needs also exercise. Okay, stretching for a while and going outside, walk a little bit like that. Going up, going down. Like you don't have to stay in the chair with after eating. No, because it cannot have a proper digestion if the food will be always sitting in the chair. You need to go up, to little bit, walking a little bit after eating. What I mean. You get the point? So it's not good to sigilag pungko after you eat. You need to stand like that, walk, because our vital organs needs also to be exercised. Okay? Every second, every minute, every hour, every day. Ganon. Okay? So especially si oxygen. Kaya trabaho kayo si oxygen, bigaon kayo. Okay, mangita yung jowa. Okay? Tapos yung pagka-reactive. Okay, ano siya ba mo? React siya permi. So, you get the point? Ano yung personality? If you try to compare oxygen, if you treat oxygen as a person, yung ana siya kinaiya. Okay, lagan kaayo, mga tulang tiil. Kasi asa ang mga kaon-kaon, tuwa dito, mga birthday. Mori si oxygen. Niya, kung andagan ni siya, or lito, bigaon kaayo, kasi asa mga risko, tuwa siya. Muna karakteristik ni oxygen. Mudali kayo siya mo react. Mahimo din siyang compound, permi. Bitaw reactive kayo siya. Okay, you get the point. Si nitrogen, dili man kiat si nitrogen. Okay? Muna si nitrogen, dili siya reactive. Pero kung kumpiyansa sa kanila nitrogen, muna ibutang sa siya sa preservatives, sa mga pagkaon. O, makanser sa yung kanila nitrogen. Delikado pa si nitrogen, dili ka siya reactive or bigaon, pero si nitrogen, makakose siyang cancer. Okay, i-preserve na siya, nitrites, ibutang na siya sa mga pagkaon. Okay, nitrates to preserve the food that will expire 2 years, 1 year. Imagine, just to extend the life of the food for 1 year and 2 years. So that's the job of the nitrogen in the presence of nitrites, preservative. And then this preservative also will react to amino group, NH2 or the purine, N5, C5H4N4. So that will produce nitrosamine, which is a carcinogen, suspected carcinogen substance that can cause cancer. Okay, that's why canned goods can really cause cancer in excessive amounts of eating due to that evidence or factual evidence. That's the main reason. Okay, but it doesn't mean makancer na yun pa. It will take a longer time for you to get that. For example, 60 years old, 50 years old, 70 years old. Like, but it depends also for the system you have. Okay, for example, if your lifestyle also are sedentary lifestyle, sedentary. Well, Sedentary lifestyle is those person who are only sitting, sleeping, sitting, sleeping, sitting, sleeping. Doesn't do work in a day. Meaning lazy, delinquent, right? So, dito, for example, di dyan mangguna, masige nagtug, okay, sige lang paminaw music, di maglakaw-lakaw, di mo kuan, di mag-study, di magluto. Ana ba? Mana siya sedentary attitude ha? Sitting, sleeping, ana ra gyud siya period. Oh, di ba? So, if, especially if your lifestyle is sedentary, then problem jud, uy, nakakaloka. O di ba? Ganon. Lugay kayo mo man ang vlog, nakisulti ay. Nakakaloka. Di ba maabtan tagsiyam-siyam? Mabusog lang kasi vlog ani ron. Okay. Kalog ana lo kalentan pa ni udto. Okay guys, confident kay ko guys din ano magugis na mabuti intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting takes 16 hours. Okay. So for example, if you eat so many foods at night, day before, and then the 16 hours completion will be enough. You don't have to worry na mapas mo ka. Okay, because that is really a 16 hours maximum for the digestion of food inside your body. If you feel also like ano yung ramay ko, ano siya dili mong tiyan, dili sa siya guys, ulcer guys, uy, that's also a sign of normal, okay, normal process ba sa imong healthy body. Dili man siya ulcer. Ano siguro kung nagkalmi na lang jud, you get the point? Dili man, wa man problem sa mo, patoy lang imong mudaguok ba? Oh, that's a sign that you are healthy. Ni mudaguok, ang mudaguok gani kasi doesn't mean wa ko ningon hangin may sakit imong tiyan. Nidaguok na siya ba? And that's the time normal ang imong health. Guys, especially kung mangutot ka, you get the point. Utot ka ng fart, F-A-R-T. That's signaling that you releases carbon dioxide to your body. That is healthy also because you releases the carbon dioxide, meaning you are reducing your oxygen content into your body that will produce also free radicals. Okay, you get the point? Anak siya mga palangga kung itad. Diba? Nakakaloka. Okay. Maluloka ka no? So, muna na siyang CHO eh. Itang palabi. And then after, we should balance the chemical equation na yun. Ganon. Guys, you know guys, in the chemical equation, there is a technique and strategy. Okay, so normally our instructors before, our teachers before in high school chemistry, they haven't teach the correct way of balancing the equation. That's why the students cannot understand very well. Because they are using the trial and error method of balancing the chemical equation. We need to use the algebraic way of balancing the chemical equation so that the students can understand really how to balance things like that. So I recommend not to do the trial and error method. Because the trial and error method, there's a lot of numbers from 1 to 10. And the teachers will say, 1, put 2, put 3, until suddenly it will be balanced. How about the number of atoms are so many na talaga siya? Do you think you can put 1, 2, 3, 4 anywhere? For example, if the atoms will reach 26 atoms, you can still, trial and error method. It's not. Use the algebraic way of balancing the chemical equation para may laban sa ulo. Okay? That's only good if your chemical reactions are so basic that don't need too much atoms. For example, I will give you an example, a concrete example, or a clear example. Gasoline. Right? Gasoline will run your car, right? Without oxygen, gasoline, your car will not move. Right? So because of the presence of octane. So meaning to say, there are 8 carbon atoms and 18 atoms of hydrogen just to run your car. Without the completion of these 8 atoms of carbon and 18 atoms of hydrogen, then your car will not run. Okay, technically. So you need only that atoms, right? So, if that is gasoline, there's a lot of atoms needed there to run mechanically the internal combustion engine inside the hood. Like that. So how can you balance that? That's no longer 1 to 10. I remember putting 2, putting 3. Mura nang duwa ba no? That's why trial and error method because in another way around you will be in error. The trial and error. What if your trial will be in error always? nga, di dyan masakto, eh. Sige lang kang balik-balik, o. So, use the trial, use the algebraic way, o. Tuluan ka mo guys sa saon. Uy, wala ba ko'y kuan? Ano na siya. Pero di dyan mo pala ma-perfect dyan yung balancing. Okay. At least 99% perfection. Okay. So makamao lang yun mo algebraic way, ha? Okay. Mga estudyante, especially my classmates before, they will chat me, sir, Sotero, akong anak pa kayo, na-check chemistry, tuloy. Kuan na rin yung mga assignment. Dami chat ako dito sa mga kuan, sa mga FB Messenger ako. Ako po sila tuluan, anak. Okay. So, ay na po na material error dito. Makakuan man na siya. Error na yun. Dili ba sa error lang sa dyan makakuha, pero you know, that is not the proper way ba of balancing the chemical equation. Though it will yield also the correct answer. Okay, you get the point? So, anak siya, no? So, scratch paper day yun. Iwa man ko yung Manila paper o kanang whiteboard. Papil-papil lang sa taron, ha? Nakakaloka. Get the point, anak, no? So, let's use the unknown, di ba mula? Di ba in algebra we have function x and y? Things like that always, right? F, small letter f, then close and open parenthesis, x and y, function of x and y. So, meaning to say, unknown x and unknown y. For example, if we have the equation 2x plus y is equals to 2, diba? This is linear equation and contains two variables, x and y, and contains two expressions. Expressions meaning that contains the variable in different letters. That's expression. So it's totally the same. Term also is another way. You speak about term, it involves the operations, the four operations in math, the division, the multiplication, the addition, the subtraction. That is term. 2 terms, 3 terms, 4 terms. Oh, 2 expression, 3 expression, ganon. Diba? Ano siya? Algebraic expression. So, meaning to say, expression and terms involved in one equation. Expression, term, and variable involves in one equation. Get the point? So if you put also exponent, so that would be another example. That will become a polynomial. Things like that. You get the point? Binomial, monomial, binomial, polynomial. So the topic will be now the polynomial topic in algebra. But if you don't put equation, that's linear only. No exponent ba? Itong x raised power 2, y raised power 1. What siya exponent lang? Muna siya mga linear algebraic equation lang yun. Okay, kaya mga exponent dahil naman to. So, diba? You get the point? So, dili siya ma-apply ba? Okay? So, there's no exponential form in this balancing of chemical equation, ha? Puro siya linear. Meaning, ang variables x, no exponent. Ganon. Okay. You got the point? Anak siya. So, anak na yun. Unahon na to ang carbon, oy. Diba in our trial and error method, if we put carbon here, 12 banda yun. The carbon here will be 12 diretso, diba? Ano na siya trial and error? Ana-ana. Okay, but the algebraic way, it's not like it mo explain pa ka nga na 12. Charot. Okay? So, anak man na siya, guys. Okay. Diba? Diba, if you can remember, your instructor will not say, 12 carbon in the raw materials in your reactant, and they will say automatically 12 atoms in the product. They will never say why. Mubutang ba sila dito, di ba? Why katuyuan ba? Di ba? When you discuss something, you need to elaborate the purpose so that the students can understand. Okay, may ibong sila kalitra. O di ba? Dapat the instructors and teachers will really say, what's the purpose, sir? And that we will put 12 also. Like that. Di ba, kaya mura nagkalit. Para lang dyan i-balance-balance, mara dyan na hinong na, para mo pariha. Napaman dyan great purpose why you should do that. Nakuha niyo ang point? Kailan kayo mo, discuss na niya, mubutang tag-12 na, mubutang sa tag-12 na. Mura dyan ipariha. Anong ipariha man mo? Question mark yan. Nga iparihaman mo ang number of atoms sa carbon sa raw material sa imong product. Kung sa may purpose, ana, the students must know that. So that by the time they have another equations, they can really understand that it's gonna be the purpose of this. That's why blah 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 so on. So dali ra kayo bisa ituyok-tuyok pa ang chemical equation, makasabot din sila usa ang pamaagi. Diba? So matter yun ang pag-teach. You get the point? The way that instructors teach the students will matter a lot. Especially if the topics are not yet encountered by the students, then the instructors or the teachers will discuss it in elaborative manner. Elaborative. Right? Elaborate kayo ba? Right? Detailed jud kayo na mauna ana ba, di ba? Okay. So, muna siyang mataburon. Okay. Now, imo jud siya ipariha guys because the theory of chemistry says that okay, it should be equal. If the chemical reaction will proceed to stability, the number of atoms in each element must be equal, or else, if the atoms in each element will not be equal in each side, there will be no stable chemical reactions at all. So that's the purpose why we need to balance. Okay? Because there's a purpose why we need to balance. Because if that is not balanced, then you cannot proceed to a chemical reaction. For example, if you put sugar in your coffee, right? And you breathe oxygen. Okay? Every day you walk. Okay? You just take your coffee, for example, and your rice in the breakfast. And then you have now 12 atoms of carbon, 22 atoms of hydrogen, 11 atoms of oxygen. And you added also 2 atoms of oxygen. And then this will not proceed to appropriate leveling of the nutrients inside your body if the number of atoms of your raw materials and your products are not balanced. And that's the reason we need to balance that, because our vital organs will receive that to make us healthy, especially the lungs. The respiratory system needs oxygen every second in order for us to have a better inhalation or proper blood flow circulation needs oxygen, right? Okay, so things like that. Mo na ang katuyuan, nga i-balance yun na to ang mga element in a chemical reaction. Okay, you know guys, hindi na to ma-deny that the chemical reactions are always inside our body. We are just not noticing it, but it takes place every minute, every second, every hour. You get the point? So, for example, if you drink water, so we need to add water pa diri ari sa imong raw materials. So the more you will produce water also in your products. Imagine you are already producing the products here with H2O. How much will you add water? Kani siya guys ang chemical reaction. Enough na siya if you don't drink water in a day. Mo drink pa ba yung water? So mo ana din siya. Carbon, H12, H22, 11 plus O2 plus H2O pa. Okay. Ganon. Kani siya. Kaya kung niba ni kaon pa jud kag rice. Dapat yun siya kaon guys. Plus C6H12 ang skimaman ang glucose. So daghan na kayo no. Ni kaon biya kag rice, ni coffee ka na sugar dito. Dapat yung caffeine nga buang ka sa chemical reaction. O caffeine plus sugar plus glucose plus carbohydrates plus oxygen plus water. So imagine mo na imong feed sa imong system in every second, every minute during your breakfast. How many chemicals you input to your system in that way? Rice, ba? Rice, glucose na dayon, oh. C6H12O6 dayon. Kanoon ba? Okay, yang asukal, C12H22O11, yang oxygen, ginahawa mo yung taglaw, o oxygen. Uy, oxygen, mamatay ta. Nari, 2 atoms dayon. Dapat yung water, kaya ano magkatubig, ba't ang kaway tubig? Right? So, daghang kay chemicals input sa imong system. Now, if you don't monitor that, if you will not control that, what will happen to your vital organs? Dili ka piong. Okay? Mukapoy po sila dito. Sa sunod, you get the point, anak siya. Muna siya kung i-monitor dyan, mga palangga kong hitan. Ganon. So, GK Arena. My student is Giancarlo Nepomuceno. I almost forgot the last name. My gosh. Okay, anak din, no? So, anak din, guys, no? So, we need to balance because of that reason, if you can still remember, right? And then, muna siya purpose sa i-balance din siya, no? And then, guys, we need to follow the law of equilibrium. The state of dynamic equilibrium that states that the total number of of atoms in your raw materials or in your reactants will be equal to the products. So we need to equal that. So equilibrium, right? So the rate of chemical reactions in the raw materials will be equal to the rate of chemical reactions of your product. So meaning to say, imo siyang i-equal. Mo nang i-balance, hindi mo siya pirmi. Ang chemical reaction. Mo na siya mga reasons. Dili kayo kalit-kalit raw. Balas-balas, wala siya, wakabaw mo, sana siya. Okay, you got the point? May katuyuan ba purpose? You got the point. So, ganun siya. So, ana, gayon. So, alam mo na ang carbon naman siya 12 reari, no? So, you should put also 12 or 12. So, ganon. Ana. Now, ang atong raw materials, there's no other carbon element in the other compound. So, sarap. So, we got 12. So, can you maka-equilibrium to make it equal? No, namin ka-equals na yun. Equilibrium man. O, equal. So, we are just interpreting the worded operations in algebra, in math. For example, if you say S equal, R equal, was equal, where equal. So this is a combination of English and math grammar. Meaning to say, because there's a lot of worded problems in math, right? And there's an equivalent for that. For example, Gina is 12 years old, older than Peter was 21 years ago. So may na siya equivalent para ma-solve mo ang age of what is being asked of the problem. So muna siya na yung mga unknown x, y, like that. Ang was equal, ang where equal, like that. Gina was 12 years equal. And then unknown x dayon. What is Gina now? What is the age of Gina? Now mean x, unknown. So mo sa naani ang balancing chemical equation. Okay. So ano ka? 12 is equal to, alam na ka sa product. So nabay carbon ang products, of course sa carbon dioxide. So ano ka? 12 is equal to x. Okay. Now, so you let x man your unknown of atom in which you try to find out. So in short, 12 is equal to x. Or x is equal to 12. That's why you need to put 12 beside carbon dioxide. That's the reason. Di ba wak mo kalit na hinungdan? Kaya man itong trailer method, butang-butang naman ito dito nga mauna siya para mabalance lang. Okay? So that's the reason. You should put 12 beside CO2. Like this. Okay, ano na punta sa hydrogen. Okay, hydrogen. Hydrogen in a compound sucrose. Have, right? 22. 22. 22. So there's no other hydrogen in the raw materials in the other compound because there's no other compound also in the raw materials. And we go to the products which are carbon dioxide. Water only have the hydrogen, right? So we need to say equal because equilibrium, right? So equal or equality sign. Equal. Now, there are in water, guys, how many atoms in water? If we drink water every day, how many atoms of hydrogen we intake to our body? How many atoms? Of course, we normally measure by volume. By glasses, like that. We need to have 8 glasses a day, 8 glasses of water a day to make us healthy, right? Then, how many atoms equivalent to that 8 glasses of water? You have to calculate. That is volume in relationship to the number of atoms. But my question only is the basic how many atoms of water in the water alone. Not the 8 glasses of water. Okay? So how much? How many? Okay? So, guys, the subscript, if you remember the subscript, superscript, and the strike through in your laptop or in your desktop, okay? Or if you have a mouse, you click the right click ba yan? Okay? Or you go to the font format, maganda na siya chupa-chuchu. There's strike through. They are also superscript, subscript. The subscript will be the numbers written down below. Okay, the superscript is the number written to the top. And the strike through is underlined written in the letter in the center. For example, W strike through. Meaning you have to put dash or underline in the middle of the letter W. So meaning to say you don't have to add water in the chemical because it will explode. That's what it means. If if you see a symbol W and there's a underline in the middle of the W in the chemical nearby, that is highly explode. It will highly explode if you put water because W means water. So strike through pala in safety data sheets are avoid to contact. Okay? You need not to contact that to water because that is highly pyrophoric, meaning to say it will be easily exploding, okay, in contact or in reaction to water. So like that. So mostly siya so subscript, superscript, strike through. Tulong naman siya, di ba guys? Okay. Ang kanyang subscript, the subscript guys would mean two. Okay. Now we are letting X as our atom. Now we need to ensure the clarity. What is an atom and the number of moles? Clarity. Okay. So clarity. Sir, what is the difference between the mole and an atom? Okay. Because we are balancing here atoms, we are not balancing here the number of moles. And there's a difference between a mole and an atom. Okay. Now, an atom, guys, is the number written beside the element and the compound exclusively. Okay. Repeat. The number of moles is the number or figure or digit written beside the element or a compound. Whereas an atom is the subscript multiplied by the number written in the beside the element and beside the compound. So to make sure, we need to designate what is the number written beside the element and the compound. That is coefficient. Okay, now coefficient is the number, is the figure, is the digit written beside the element or the compound. Okay, then if you multiply that to the subscript, that will become an atom. So there's a clear difference because if you say number of moles, we don't try to consider the subscript written below the element. You get the point? So that's the difference between atom and a mole. Okay, that is mechanism difference. So if you try to say the difference in terms of their definition, that will be also another. Because then the mole is the unit of the amount of substance. Okay, so for example, if the question will say in chemistry, blank is the unit of the amount of substance, meaning to say if the examination is filled in the blank, then your answer will be the mole. It's not an atom. No, atom by definition it is the smallest or tiniest particle in the nucleus, and that is an atom. Okay, an element is made up of an atom. Okay, and a compound is made up of several atoms banded together or compacted together. Okay, so the basis really is an atom when we say an element. So that's why we have a atomic configuration or electronic configuration. Get the point? Because we say electronic configuration, we're referring to the atoms. Okay, so atoms ni siya atong i-balance ha. It's not the number of moles. So that's why we will say 2 times x. Okay, x man atong di-unknown. Every time we need to let x, we need that to put beside the element and the compound. See, I put the x beside the compound water. Beside, preposition, right? Beside, under, underneath, below, preposition. Preposition designates location or positioning. Okay, beneath, underneath, under, below, beside, front, back, top, bottom. Okay, preposition in English, right? So, kani siya beside. Okay, beside water. Okay, H2. So, mga natin, okay, 2 times x. 2 times x. So this will become 2x is equals to 22. Okay, and then solve for the value of x. Then x is equal to 22 divided by 2 is equals to 11. Okay, there's a lot of way how to do this guys, no? Iwan na siyang i-over to 22. 2 over 22 so that masolve mo ang x. Ako lang na siyang gidit so kaysa yun naman kayo. Okay, you get the point? So, what I mean, basic na ba? So that's why I go directly. So, 2x is equals to 22, therefore x is equals to 22 over 2. Right? Then x is equals to 11. So we have 11 atoms of hydrogen. And now we will put that beside water. Because you put the unknown there, x. Do not put that beside the sucrose, because we have also hydrogen in the sucrose compound, right? Put that beside water because you are letting the unknown x beside the water. So, eliminate the unknown x, put 11. Okay, 11 atoms of water. Now, we are done with carbon. Hydrogen, we go to the oxygen. We need to balance the oxygen also. The same story, algebraic balancing equation. So we have oxygen. Take note, we have 2 oxygens here. 11 atoms of oxygen from sucrose and 2 atoms of oxygen by diatomic oxygen gas. Oxygen gas is diatomic because there are 2 atoms na diatomic na siya. If there's no 2, that is monoatomic. Okay? Because the point, so diatomic gas. Okay, like that. So that is oxygen. We mean of oxygen that is already tantamount to oxygen gas or equivalent to oxygen gas. Ha? If we try to put that in a chemical equation. Now, if we try to put that in a balancing galore, meaning to say, if you try to balance individually, you will just say oxygen. You will not put oxygen gas. But if you try to put that in a chemical reaction, you need to carry the 2 below the you will not say oxygen only. That is wrong. Okay, because oxygen will not exist without the 2 atoms in the subscript of the capital O. Di ba? O2. Do not put, it's only good if you are balancing. Oxygen, ganun. Butang rin mo. O, di ba? Maestra mo yung O na ibutang. Siyempre, hindi ba na chemical reaction? Sa pag-balance naman na. So, pwede ra. But if you try to put in the chemical reaction, you should complete O2. Kaya kung mo ibutang O, di ka na naman O. Get the point? So, ana siya, ha? So, ana yun. So, oxygen, ganon. So, sorry for my viewers all over the world. Sometimes I'll mix that with Visayan language. You cannot understand, right? But I will try my very, very best to speak fluently in English straight. But it could not be that I will mix that with Bisaya. Okay, you get the point? It's gonna be like that, sorry. Okay, now, we have here oxygen in the sucrose, oxygen in the oxygen gas. So you will say, okay, and there's a lot of oxygen. Uy, nakakaloka. All are having oxygen. So, how can you balance this? All are having oxygen. And the last element to be balanced is the oxygen. So, oh my gosh, what will I do first? Question mark. What will I do first? Question mark. Punctuation mark. Okay, like that. So, you will go to the least or the most least number of atoms. You will let the unknown X atoms there. Okay, so, tanawa ra good guys. Sa sucrose, 11. Sa oxygen, 2. And then sa carbon dioxide, nalago siya 24. And then for the water, we have 11 atoms. Of course, we should let X beside oxygen gas because that is only the least oxygen of all. In case there's a lot of element in a particular chemical reaction, you have to choose the least number of atoms, right? And then we have to put the unknown X beside oxygen gas. Ganon. Guys, ang hirap kumita ang pera. So, I need to vlog talaga siya, guys, because I need to increase my revenues. And then the YT also will try to eliminate your channel if there's no vlogs. Okay? They will monitor every time. Really? Okay, you got the point. So that's why if you want to become a vlogger, be sure you have commitment and dedication to do that, because or else it will be eliminated in their channel, and then if you are monetized, you will be back to zero if you don't maintain the leveling of your vlogs. Okay, for example, you can vlog 3, 4 in a day like that. Okay, but it's okay also you have 1 vlog in a day, things like that. But in case like me, I don't have so many viewers, then that's the time I will exert more effort to have multiple vlogs in a day. like that, so that I can compensate and can recover the, the monetization issues. Okay, monetization issues is in terms of dollars, US dollars, things like that. Okay, so if I don't vlog, then I don't have also revenue. I don't have, you know, my money will not rise. Charot. Really? Okay, I love it. Okay, gusto ko. And that's why. Okay. Kapoy. Okay, now I have no choice, right? Okay, so I have here the XO2. Anak ko din mo siya guys, diba? 11. Oh, we balance the oxygen man. So, anak na yun. Sorry talaga. Okay. So, sa akong mga viewers all over the world, chatting. Okay, we have oxygen 11. Oh, 11. Oh. And then, sa oxygen gas, means say X times 2. Meaning coefficient times subscript. So, 2 times X. Okay. Equilibrium, equal. Okay. Oxygen in carbon dioxide, how many? So, oxygen, okay, 2 times 12. Why is there Sotero 12? Because if you put that in an element, the number of atoms beside that compound will be owned by both elements. Why? Because this is the theory of math in multiplication distribution rule. For example, in algebra, we have the PEMDAS rule of operation, that the 4 basic operations in math, we have the addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. The multiplication, guys, if you put numbers beside, meaning to say they will share the same variables, the same coefficient, and you have to multiply that. Things like the distribution. For example, if I have only explanation why. Okay, so for example, if I have 3x plus y squared, this is a polynomial, right, in math, and then we need to multiply that by let's say 4. Okay, this one, algebraic expression. Then we need to say you multiply 4 by 3x plus 4 times y squared. So your answer will be 12x plus 4y squared here. Because this is distribution multiplication, meaning both quantities in our expression inside the closed and open parentheses will share, okay, the same opportunity. Oh, how can I say that? Have the same method how to do it. Okay, so just like here, CO2. So oxygen also will be multiplied by 12. Carbon also will be multiplied by 12 because they are putting beside with each other. Multiplication distribution rule in English. PEMDAS meaning to say, parentheses, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. You need to remember this in algebra because there's a lot of combination of operation. Then if you start with multiplication, your answer will be wrong. What you need to find out, look first the parentheses, close and open parentheses, like that. Second will be the exponent. You need to operate that first to follow the PEMDAS rule. And then number 3, multiplication first. You don't need to add first, multiplication. Because if you add first, you will be wrong. For example, 2 plus 3 plus x divided by 3 plus 2. Dagan kay mga operation guys ba? Okay, you don't need to start what is in the left only. You need to look for this. Parentheses, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, meaning PEMDAS rule in math. Okay, especially in an equations that are rambled. You know rambled? Mixed together, there's a lot of operations. So 2x divided by 2 minus 2y, and then plus y squared, and then plus 2 over 3. Nasa fraction. Nakakaloka. And then, you need, nasa mga parentheses dito baron, ana. So, you will look first for the parentheses, second, exponent, third, multiplication, fourth, division, mga ganon. Next, addition, then subtraction is the last. This is in chronological order, in particular order. Means arranged. Okay, you don't have to jump, ha? Okay? Especially if the expressions are so many guys, naroon na siya guys sa mga examination sa math, irambol-rambol dito. Okay, you get the point. Nananggali siya sa Facebook, i-post what is the answer, like blah, blah, blah. You need to follow the PEMDAS rule only to get exactly the correct answer. Even though kato mga manok, na may apple, like that, in the Facebook post, that's also following the PEMDAS rule na algebra. Okay? Okay. Normally, mo abe, tarita magsugod sa left, right? Then, padok sa it's not like that. You need to look for the one I mentioned a while ago, ha? Sa math. Para ma-perfect na yun. Okay, you got the point. Anak Jude. Okay, so we have here CO2. Kung dyan na itong aim, perfect. Okay? CO2, perfection, Jude. Okay, CO2, 12 atoms. Okay, ganda naman siya, no? Pinilit na makana, 11 plus 2x. Okay, like that is equal to, ano na yun, no? Can equal, equilibrium ba yan? The oxygen sa carbon dioxide, ano din? 2 times 12. Oh, 2 times 12. Mara din ko ba, uy, yak kayo ka sa Sotero. Ano yun kayo para makasabot? Bahala na. Total, vlogging rabi ka ni. Pumunta na ka sa oras. Okay? I think that's also the reason why, because the teacher have only 1 hour to discuss, and then they don't have to to elaborate more. Sometimes they do it shortcut manner, and they leave it to the students to research more, to have their own initiative, to study hard, to discover the difficulties by themselves, so that they will learn also a lot, right? I think so. That is the case. Okay, because the time is limited. For example, if you're handling science subject in a classroom, and then you don't have to extend that beyond because there's another teacher that will wait for you for another subject. I think this is also the reason. Another reason also because laziness. Also, they don't love really to elaborate more. That's another also issue. Right? It depends on the situations. Okay, actually. Okay, and there are also intelligent instructors that will discuss very fast. Okay, they don't need to discuss very well. Because as what I found out, guys, the average instructors can discuss very well compared to the, no, I'm just telling the truth, ha? This is my observation. Compared to the, the top-notcher instructors, the very brilliant instructors. Because normally they will discuss in a very quick manner. They will never discuss in an elaborative way, in a detailed manner. So the students will suffer. How about the slow learner students? They cannot understand very well, right? So you should project your discussion in the average level of intellectual capacity. Okay, things like that. Not to the, to the superior intelligence people or the genius or whatever. The fast learners. Okay, because I really experienced this in CIT. Our instructors are lectures like that, and then too much, really, too sabot guys. Okay, siguro I can understand if I have also intellectual capacity the same as him. Okay, but I'm not a top notcher like that. Okay, things like that. You get the point. Okay, average lang talaga. Okay, so to those average, you kasabot. You get the point. So you should project your discussion in the average. To project the total audience of your discussion, the students, okay, not to the few only. Oh, the fast learners kay na mayabot yung ka, yung makasabot. Gamay ra kaayo, fairness. Okay, you get the point, and to calibrate your performance is basing by on the majority on or how they pass, how many will pass. So that is proving your effectiveness as a teacher. And then, of course, so many students will pass. That means you are an effective teacher rather than nobody pass in your subject. That means you are not a good teacher if nobody pass in your subject. You didn't teach very well. It doesn't mean you teach, but they cannot understand the way how you teach. Things like that. Or they did not understand very well in the methods of how you teach. Things like that. And they're just ashamed to ask questions. Because especially if you are very strict, like that, and you keep on, asking questions, difficult questions to them, and they will be afraid to voice out or to raise their hands to answer because your questions are so very difficult also, and then your face also maybe are very strict. Nobody wants to answer, right? Nobody wants to volunteer to answer the questions, and then you're very very fast, things like that. Oh, diba? Ganon. Okay. Now going back. Ang malingaw sa kung nga nga teachers no, kay makuan jud ba masukod jud ang imong kuan utok. Okay? You get the point? So, okay nagyapon siya, di ba? But you know, mas may magutong makasabot din na ang dahan jud oy. Kasunod pa lang sa classroom instruction din, di ba? Okay. Okay. Some students will not go to the library. Okay, some students are not studying when they came home. Really, some students also are only studying when they are at the school. There are a lot of attitude and type of behavior and personality of the students. Some students also will not study and they're just very quick to understand. Okay? The moment the teacher explain, they understand automatically just in there. Other also will take down notes and study. Okay? But there are other also really catching very fast. There's also like that. And there's also slow learners. Even though 2 times, 3 times discussing, still it will not be retained in their brain cells. So there's a lot. There's so many types of personality or behavior or attitude or let's say of the students, right? Ganon. So the best way is to teach properly in a detailed manner, elaborative manner talaga siya. Okay, you get the point. Ganon. Okay, so, mabalik ta sa atong 2 times 12, no? And then, for the oxygen of water, sa man. So, mara din ka, oxygen 11. Why 11? Because there's no subscript in oxygen, ha? Okay. So, ano siya? So, 1 times 11. Okay. Because this oxygen understood to have 1. Guys, if there's no subscript, nothing, meaning 1. In chemistry, meaning 1 times 11. So that's why it will become 11. So this is the way how it should be. Okay, because if you will go direct, some students, especially the slow learner, cannot understand. Okay, mukalit ka kag times na wala kabaw ba. Okay, you get the point? So that's 11. Because that is coming from 11 times 1. Okay, like that. So, guys, this is a technique guys, we need to learn the basic. Because, basic foundation, because you know, if the problems will become difficult, you can analyze by yourself. Sa tutuwaron mo siya makamauna dyan ka. Because you know really the basic steps or the basic foundation how to understand. Okay? Like that. Because if you are less of the foundation, then just like a bridge, it will collapse in the future if the foundation of the bridge is not strong. The students also are just like that. You have strong and solid foundation. So, the moment you go to your elementary level, to your school, it's in there that you'll develop and acquire all the knowledge. Not perfectly, it's retained in your brain cells. Because in the college, it will just coming again and again and again and again. It will just be the same story. There will just be an additional. Do you think that the boiling point definition in college is not the same in elementary? It's just the same. Define boiling point. When you evaporate the water, okay, the molecules will evaporate to the atmosphere, especially if you are boiling the water in an open space. Okay, especially if your kitchen have a opening or window. Then of course the molecules of the water will escape and go to the atmosphere. That is evaporation process, right? Okay, liquid to vapor. A change from liquid to vapor is evaporation, right? Like that. So, how can the molecules will evaporate? It will never reach the boiling point. Of course, it will reach first the boiling point. And what's the definition of the boiling point? So, even though in the elementary, it's already discussed there. If you will not remember that in college, nga, mo-review na po kagbalik. So, how about you pay attention when you are still in the elementary, high school, and then in college, then it's easy for you to survive in different examinations. Things like that, even though you will not study, because it's already in your brain cells. Things like that. Okay? Yung plus pa sa mga bagong itungan, na mga knowledge. Diba ang success special? You get the point? Ganon. So dapat, you enjoy. While you're studying, you enjoy. It's not pilit, because if it's pilit, duwa dyan. Okay? You will never graduate if you will study in a pilit way. Pinugos mo eskwela ra jud ka para because of your parents wants you to graduate. It's not like that in studying. You should love. You should enjoy while you are studying. That passion of going to the school, you should be happy and you should be willing to learn. things like that. Because if you are just doing it by force, then you will never graduate or you will stop. Because there's no feeling of enjoyment. This is the number one, the willingness, the eagerness. Okay, because if there's willingness and eagerness, then the commitment will be next. The love on what you are doing will be next. The first will be the eagerness, the willingness, and the interest in studying. You get the point? If you don't have that, then nga, di jud ka mo graduate or whatever, muhunong ra jud ka. Okay, you get the point. So that's the requirements in studying. And you need to accumulate your knowledge while you are still in a younger stage of your education. Ganon. Okay. So, we have Sagol man i-value sa education akong vlog. Uy, nakakaloka. Okay. So, 11 times is equals to 11. Okay, ganun siya. O, la. Susutiro nga naman, yung anak man lagi na susutiro. Dapat mo pari-pariha lagi na sa susutiro. Okay. Ato lang, waton jud. Charot. Okay. Naingani guys, no? Hala, tanawa, ragod nyo guys. Oh. So, ang sama to ang rule sa math. Math. Guys, every time guys, na-show yung math guys, no? Okay. Di jud mawala ang math. For example, pag matabaho ka, then somebody will ask you, uy, sir, what is the density of water in order for this water to go up in the second level? And then there's the pressure rating of the hose. And then nobody can answer. Things like that. Maybe it's just happened that nobody can answer also. And they will ask you, for example, if you are the supervisor, then if you don't know how to do that in a simple way, so nga di mo progress in trabaho. Get the point? So kinalang ka ba o jud ka mo compute ganon. O diba? Ana dahil nasama ni siya nga equation. Okay. Tanaw din mo ang kilid-kilid. Uy, sa math, if there are the same, then you need to cancel. The same variable, the same number, the same number, the same variable, you need to cancel that out if it's the same. If not the same, don't cancel. Cancel is part of simplification so that you have a simplified equations. And it's easy to solve once it is simplified, right? So that is your main target, always simplify all the equations so that you can easily solve that out. Okay? Because if it is too much complicated, how can you solve? Okay? So, kung sa may makancel ni Amy, ito na magkilid. Okay, pariho ang 11, nagdala ka 11, o diba? Cancel na yun. Cancel ang 11. Charot. Anak, no? O diba? So, 2 times x, 2x, 2 times 12 is 24. Then, 2x is equals to 24. And then 24, x is equals to 24 divided by 2, then x is equals to 12. So, 12 ang imong oxygen. Oh, 12, put that beside oxygen because we let the x beside oxygen gas, then replace the x with 12. That is 12 moles of oxygen gas. Ganon. Now, i-balance na yung tanan guys, no? The last step, balance carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen. So, anak na yun, tanawa, Carbon, 12 atoms in the reactant, and then in the left, and 12 atoms of carbon in the right. Perfect. Okay, it's gonna be like that, and if there are also situations that it's not balanced, then you need to rework. Okay, because science is all about like that. You need to rework if your experiment will not succeed. You need to make another trials or test until such time your experiment will be succeeding or it will be successful. Okay, there's no such scientist that their first discovery will be successful from the first stage of their scientific research. It will run to how many years? Because that is scientific discovery. Solving equation is just like that also. You have to repeat again, repeat again, repeat again. There's no Superman in solving equation. There's no magna cum laude and summa cum laude in computations. Anybody can get wrong. There's no perfection. All you have to do is to rework if you found any inconsistencies. Things like that, okay? Ganun siya talaga. There's no Superman in calculations. Okay? So, ano din na? So, hydrogen, 22, hydrogen 22, oxygen, 11 plus 24. Pila ba 11 plus 24? Kaya pa sa, charot. Murag 35, no? Mura mo 35. Okay, sige na lang. Okay, 35. Ako rin i-compute sa akong brain cells. Ikapit is what? Okay, oxygen, tamban-tamban, right? Oxygen in the carbon dioxide and water. So 24 plus 11, 35. The perfect. This is the balance equation of sucrose plus oxygen gas is equals to 12 moles of carbon dioxide plus 11 moles of water. Now, this is the way. So, for example, guys, if you put sugar in your coffee and you breathe oxygen, wala pa na siya water ha. Wala pa ka ikaw na nagbugas. Wala pa ka ikaw ng kanon. Sucrose na gini siya. Coffee na ni siya ha. O pag ganyan akong giapil ang coffee. So, the more it will become complex if you will add the caffeine chemical. Okay, like that. Okay. For ang formula sa caffeine 4, 8, 10, 12. Imong timan na gusto ang number during memorization. The number of atoms. Para dali ra. Okay? Ano daw? 4, 8, 12. Ah, ganun siya. Ganun. So para dali kayo minamdaman niya. Ano ba sa protein gani, kung ano CHON, basta carbohydrate CHO. Ganun. Okay? Yeah. Ang hormone kayo mo protein, di ba? What are the different types of protein? Di ba na apil siya ang hormonal protein, enzymatic protein, okay, microbial protein, storage protein, transport protein, membrane protein. Okay, microbial protein. Oh, ano siya, ana yan. So, we have microbial protein, ang example na niya katong antibodies. Because we need that protein because that is antimicrobial protein. Right? So muna siya ang antibodies, we need that so that the virus can accumulate more inside our system. So that is antimicrobial protein. Sorry, I said before, right? Microbial lang. That is anti. Okay? Antimicrobial protein, enzymatic protein. Enzymatic protein, these are the enzymes. Okay? Enzymes are needed to activate the substances inside the body because they cannot produce other substances without the enzymes, meaning activator. Get the point? Things like that. So in here guys, I did not include the caffeine which is a hormonal protein. Because I said, diba? Coffee. Yeah, nibutang mo mong asukar sa coffee. Okay, bita ko nilibutang asukar kaya meron ko caffeine plus water plus oxygen. Ako naman naging example, wala ang water. There's no water, there's no caffeine, there's no glucose from the rice. Because every time you eat rice, there's a glucose there. Carbohydrates family, C6H12O6. So our reaction is simpler, not complex. So the more our reaction is, the more our raw materials are complex, okay, the more our product will become complex. But I'll just make it like this for basic understanding, for the purpose of discussion only. Things like that. So one is siya. Okay, so we need to say, you added 12 atoms of carbon dioxide and 11 atoms of water if you take coffee every day. Things like that. Okay, and then what happened to the 12 atoms of carbon dioxide? It will just be released because mangutot ng ta. Okay, manugab. Okay, like that, mo ginhawa. Mo release ng carbon dioxide during exhalation. So, magawas rin 12 atoms. Replace the another na sa akin, inhale naman po oxygen. Okay, so the 12 atoms will just be released into the environment. Okay, like that, and the plants will receive that. It's just a cycle. The plants will receive the carbon dioxide. Okay, and the plants also will yield the oxygen. Things like that. When we eat that in our system, because most of our food are coming from the plants and the animals. Okay. And then, diba, the rice coming from the palay, and the palay is a plant, right? So it's gonna be like that. So get the point. So it's gonna be a cycle. Muna siya mo, ato na sa biology. O dugo kayo mo man, atantag, siyam-siyam, atantag kadam, sa sa cellular respiration, mga ganun, mga saan na dito. Okay? So, kailangan tayo oxygen good. So oxygen good, cellular respiration, may na aerobic ba? Oxygen, the presence of oxygen. Ganon. So, anak. Ano siya itong complete balance equation. Anak. So, guys, kung balancing the gasoline, makalagyan po niya siya, guys, no? Pero, the only difference in the gasoline that is already termed combustion. Okay. Guys, this is also the equivalent combustion inside our body, but this is not the fuel type combustion chemical reaction. This is not a fuel. This is through our, health. This is food. Okay, substances, liquids like that. Okay, but the same story. We need to add. The moment we add oxygen, this is now called combustion. Okay, but this kind of reaction is not called combustion, but literally combustion. Makalibog, no? Literally, meaning this is not the true combustion. The true combustion is the fuel. You get the point, the gasoline. So if we add oxygen gas in the gasoline, nagkadagan kitang mga atoms. Okay? Okay, kung ano gusto daan? C8H18 na gusto ang mga atom sa gasoline. Octane. C8H18. Daghan na kayo tao. Tanawara ko diri, wala pa na siya kuan. Kamay ra na yung mga kuan. Diba? Mga abot ang mga pila na to dito. So, aron sa i-balance ang hydrocarbon topic mo na siya, guys. Okay? Okay. Guys, hydrocarbon chemistry and biochemistry is not the same. Biochemistry will not touch fuel. But chemical engineering will touch all. But not deeper. We touch a little bit with the chemistry of the medicines, but not detail. Okay? But we know some of the chemical reactions of, for example, stimulants, like that. Antiseptics, mga ganon-ganon. Okay, but not on the application, how it is being prescribed. Okay, whom the people will take that, not on that, because the medical people knows that we are only knowing what are the chemical reactions, the substances, but we don't know really what is that needed for the patient, like that. That's only the difference. Okay, but for the the chemical structure, chemical force, especially pharmaceutical products, we study that a lot in chemical engineering. And the BS pharmacy chemistry, pharmaceutical products, kind of mga antibiotics, okay, how to make a tablet, like that, penicillin, mga ganon. So it's being taught in chemical engineering, the raw materials, the substance, how to make tablets, antibiotics. So it's being taught in BS chemical engineering. Okay? You get the point? Ganon, pharmaceutical products. Okay, mga ganon-ganon. Okay, mga capsule. Charot. Okay. Diba? So muna yung nakalahi lang kaya wala man study of physiology and anatomy. Okay? Mga ganun ko mo study of anatomy of physiology kay makakuha na yung kuba kay kasabot ko sa behavior sa mga sasasing mo ato dito. Malingaw dyan po guys, apag kong kadlaw. Murag sa kong ni ato dito. Murag ka na. Murag siya na akong kalimay ato dito. Mukha ni ko mabasa di ko dito. Malingaw dyan ko ato dito sa mga kuan, mga brain cells to the point mo create siya mga electrical impulses, ang mga neurons. O diba mo dagay doon sa mga bloodstream, mga gano'n. Natin ba sa expression? I love it. Really. So kay mo dito sa biochemistry, doon naman ko ng biochemistry sa medical. Okay. Biochemistry, kinaman po niya na, pwede rin kay grabe, marag ko anong siya ba? Ituwa-tunga. Pero what yung mga kuhan guys, huwag mo study of epidemiology, the study and controls of diseases. Huwag mi ana, ang ganun hindi ko mo touch lang ana kay huwag man mi ana. Okay, epidemiology. Okay? Epidemiology, physiology, anatomy, huwag mi ana. Pero all about substances na amyan the behavior, the reactions, like that. Kung di mo gud mo model og mga kuan, mga diagnostic, mga ganun. Okay? Ano, malingaw jud ko. Okay, ganon. Hindi mo maura man eh. Okay, you get the point. So, ana siya mo na akong pagbalance mo. Di lang kung balance ang gasoline di kay mabtan ka gabi eh. Wa ko'y partner, suwat ako na jud sariling sikap. Kapag kayo nakita ko batang guys, kapag isang pakitag kwarta mo. Okay, para ba jud? Para pa mo tubo. Tubo lang gamay. Charot! Ano kaloka? Diba? Okay, so muna na itong topic. So balik lang ako kang tawag kasi kayo mag-vlog ka o kuan, lain ako nga topic, no? Okay. So muna siya guys, anybody wants to ask assistance and help regarding chemistry, then you can chat me through messenger, like that. Okay. General chemistry lecture 1 and 2, mga ganun lang siya. Okay. Like that. And then I'm not advocating math, only chemistry. Okay, you get the point. And then you can share this if you want also, and then you can subscribe to my channel. Okay, if you haven't subscribed yet. Okay, you can click the notification bells for some news updates later. It's your own voice. Bye bye, God bless everybody. See you later. Oh, nakakaloka. Wadi ko gutuman doon sa ilang kong yaw-yaw in fairness. Charis.